Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Continuing to see those cloudy and breezy conditions out there this morning. Seeing our peak gust in the last hour up around 23 knots, just shy of that wind advisory, but expecting to see a wind advisory issued as we gradually continue through the remainder of the day. Otherwise, seeing some light sprinkles and showers out starting to push through the area. We'll see increasing unsettled weather as we move into the afternoon and more so into the evening when we'll see our best chance of some scattered showers and possibly some heavier showers moving through. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we have that area of low pressure that was formerly potential tropical cyclone 8. Moved well inland over western Carolinas, keeping boundary kind of wrapped around that with some moisture and rain showers wrapped around that as well. Starting to see some of those first showers swinging up into the local area. Expecting this boundary to gradually lift northward as we move over the next 24 hours, and it's going to also push those showers up through and north of the local area as we move over the next 24 to 48 hours. So that's going to be our main weather maker as we move over the coming days, and then just seeing some lingering maybe light showers or sprinkle chances as we move through the remainder of the week with some clouds staying around the area. If we look at our upper level winds from this morning sounding, seeing easterly winds quite stout near the surface, around 26 knots. That's our peak winds. Otherwise, seeing those winds more southerly, southeasterly as we go up through the column. And seeing another peak of 26 knots up around 20,000 feet. The freezing level today is at 13,500 feet. If we take a look at the current visible satellite, we can see plenty of cloud material across the region, expecting that to, again, stick around really through the extended forecast here, seeing mostly cloudy conditions continue. Otherwise, you can see this bulk of the precip activity along that boundary. That's going to be what it will lift through our local area as we move over the next 24 to 48 hours. If we zoom in and look at our local radar here, we can see some of the light radar returns that have moved over the local area earlier this morning and continuing to do so. As you can see, some additional reflectivity moving through the area, mainly just seeing some light showers continuing to push through over the island and main base here. If we look at the short-term high-resolution model, see what we can expect as we move through the day today. Again, gradual lifting north of those showers as we move through the day today, moving into the afternoon. Seeing a better chance of some more scattered shower activity. Bulk of the activity pushing through a little bit later in the evening. As you can see, the high-res model here breaking some of that activity apart, making things a bit more isolated, widely scattered. I suspect we'll have a bit more coverage than what's being indicated here on the simulated reflectivity. But nonetheless, as we move through the later evening and early overnight hours, that's when we're going to see our best chance of rain coverage, as well as some of those showers being a bit on the heavier side, as well as a slight chance of seeing some lightning around the area as well. And as we move into the morning, we'll start to see that boundary lifting further north, and much of the activity should move out of the area with just looking at a chance of a light shower lingering around mainly early on, and then possibly a sprinkle or so as we move through the afternoon hours. And then we should see a gradual overall drying trend as we move into the day on Thursday. If we zoom out, look at the GFS here. Again, the drying trend continues as we move mostly through the extended forecast here. We will see another area of low pressure develop off the coast along that stationary boundary. Not looking to get very strong, but will help to keep the clouds around and possibly maybe a few shots of moisture swinging through the local area, maybe a light shower or sprinkle as we go through the remainder of the week. But things looking mainly dry, and we'll start to see those winds back off slightly as we move through the end of the week as well. And then we'll see those winds probably pick back up a bit as we move into the weekend. But overall, extended forecast is looking mainly dry. The European model does have some possible rain chances Friday evening, but not very confident in that at this time. And then you'll see here the GFS starts to bring a little moisture in as we get later into the weekend, into the beginning of next week. Again, not a lot of confidence in that, as well as high pressure attempts to build its way back down into the local area. So if we look at the 24-hour weather risk chart for today, we do have quite the colorful risk chart, starting off with a red risk for those winds at or above 25 knots, and seeing an orange risk for that precip threat pushing through the area. We do expect a wind advisory here shortly, expecting those winds to pick up to around 13 to 18 knots sustained out of the east-northeast, gusting up to 28 knots, and we'll see our high today getting up to around 76, 77 degrees for the afternoon hours. So keeping that red risk for the wind advisory as we move through much, if not all, of the working hours today, and keeping that increasing chance of showers as we move into the afternoon. And we do pick up a yellow risk for lightning with about a 20% chance of maybe embedded thunderstorm as more of that shower activity starts to move through the area. As we go deeper into the evening, we'll keep those increasing precip chances as that boundary continues to lift through the local area, and we'll continue with the yellow risk for our lightning. And we'll start to see the winds weaken slightly, but still staying fairly elevated, dropping down to an orange risk for those wind advisory criteria, and then down to a yellow as we approach midnight, but still staying slightly breezy through the next 24 hours. And we start to pick up a risk for some reduced ceilings and visibilities as well as we move through that period of potentially more coverage and heavier rain shower activity between the 2000 local time frame to 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. As you can see, we had that red precip threat indicated during that time. That is when we expect the greater chance of seeing some scattered showers and possibly some storms around the area. That onshore flow keeping the tide slightly above normal today. And if we look at our extended forecast here, as we get into Wednesday, keeping about a 40% chance of precip around the area, mainly early on in the morning, and then decreasing chances as we move through the day. Just a slightly breezy conditions, not as likely that we'll see a wind advisory, but temperatures staying in the mid 70s as we move through the remainder of the work week here. Should see drying conditions as mentioned as we go into Thursday and Friday. Just a very slight chance of a light sprinkle, maybe a light shower around the area on Thursday. Overall, should just see mostly cloudy conditions, mostly cloudy and slightly breezy on Friday, with a slight chance of maybe an evening shower, but not looking overly confident in that. And moving into the weekend, slightly cooler with temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Moving through the weekend time frame, continuing to keep those clouds around the area, and we'll continue to see slightly breezy conditions with help of that area of low pressure sitting just off the coast. A 10% chance of seeing some precip around the area on Saturday, and then as we get into Sunday and Monday, right now looking mainly dry, and we'll keep an eye on the evolution of that area of low pressure, possibly swinging some shower chances into the area. And as we start next week, partly to mostly cloudy. High around 72, low around 61, so slightly cooler than what we're seeing currently. So that's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day.